money is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is money. And now what that means is money is energy and information. And if you have energy, you're a rich nation. And that usually gets them very interested. I would say within the next 5 years, we're going to see a wave of adoption. And definitely within 10 years, we will see hyperbitcoinization. The other system is breaking. This is just fuel on the fire. The Bitcoin adoption push is just adding fuel to that fire.
Today we are covering the ongoing push for nation-state adoption by Samson Mow and his team at Jan3. Samson brings a wealth of experience to the table, having previously been the CSO at Blockstream and the CEO at BTC China. Jan3 is dedicated to accelerating hyperbitcoinization and has been working with numerous leaders around the world to develop strategies for doing so. Without further ado, let's hear Samson tell us about his work and his expectations of Bitcoin adoption 10 years in the future.
Jan3 is a Bitcoin company focused on accelerating hyperbitcoinization. Right now, we're just trying to get more Bitcoin adoption, top level and bottom up, grassroots. So grassroots, we're supporting new initiatives in different countries, trying to get new Bitcoin beaches, Bitcoin jungles going. Top level, we're engaging with politicians and governments, trying to help them define a Bitcoin strategy to bring them into the financial future. I'm trying to accelerate that message with politicians and teach them what money is, because I think that is actually the best avenue to get them to understand Bitcoin. If you don't understand what money is, then you don't really see the potential for Bitcoin, right? You see it as a technology or maybe just a stock even, right? But it's far more than that. It's a transformation of very fundamental parts of civilization. But I tell them, money is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is money. And now what that means is money is energy and information. And if you have energy, you're a rich nation. And that usually gets them very interested. In the case of Indonesia, he's well aware. It's a very energy-rich nation. They're the second highest in terms of geothermal potential in the world. They have, I think, 2,000 some odd megawatts of geothermal potential. They have 800 rivers to tap into for hydropower. And with that transformation of money being energy, you're a very rich nation if you have that. So they just need ways to tap into that. And of course, he's also interested in the concept of a Bitcoin bond. And they're already doing a public-private venture to do volcano mining. But yeah, you drill these wells down and you take the water out in the form of steam and you power turbines and then you put it back down the well. And actually you can get energy when you push it back down as well. So as you get energy taking it out and then you get energy putting it back in. And you just convert that to Bitcoin. So when you can't export that easily, right? Like where would they, if they built a large array of geothermal plants, what are they going to do with it? They can't send it to Australia. They don't have a neighbor that will buy from them. But if you can turn that energy into money, you can sell it.
Right.
The other interesting thing is I tell them, even if you don't want the Bitcoin, you can simply sell it.
Yeah.
If you value gold, if you value dollars, it's there for you to take. You just take the Bitcoin and sell it. It's the most liquid market on the planet with some $40 billion of trade volume daily. So it's almost irresponsible not to tap into that. And take it, build roads, build hospitals, build airports, whatever you need. I think it's really just education. Like we say this very often, but it is education. A lot of the times when we engage with these politicians, some of them have no understanding of Bitcoin. And you have to start from literally zero. And you need people going there and being Bitcoin ambassadors and helping to educate. It really comes down to changing their thinking about Bitcoin. There's just so much misinformation and FUD in the media that it's difficult to combat that. It's easier to just say Bitcoin is money, right? Sailor likes to say Bitcoin is commodity, but I like to go even simpler. Bitcoin is just money. And that generally gets them understanding faster because it's whatever you want it to be. Bitcoin is just information, really. It's just we happen to use information as money or use a commodity as money. I think they're definitely looking at El Salvador. Like all eyes are watching and seeing how they're developing. So success in El Salvador is good for Bitcoin. And I think all the work that people have been doing there, you know, the Bitfinex guys and Max and Stacy, that's great, you know. Keep that running, because that is a beacon that we can point to, and we can look at El Salvador and see what they're doing, right? It's also critical because with Bitcoin as legal tender in El Salvador, it opens the door for other things we can do with other countries, right? Guatemala can adopt Bitcoin in an instant because they have a law that allows the use of foreign currencies. And Bitcoin is a foreign currency. So El Salvador is very important in the grand scheme of things, but we do need more countries to adopt it. So the head of operations at Jan 3, Doogie, he likes to say El Salvador is a beachhead. We have a small foothold, and we need more of these because, as you know, the powers that be want to roll out CBDCs.
Of course.
We have to fight and counter that with Bitcoin. That's the only counter. There's a group in the Philippines too, and the Philippines is also very high for geothermal potential. But it's interesting to see because a lot of countries that have been poor for a very long time, or have, you know, low per capita income, they're actually very rich in terms of energy. But before Bitcoin, what can you do? Oil is great. You put oil in a barrel, you ship it anywhere in the world. But with geothermal and hydro, Bitcoin is a godsend because now you're a rich nation. You can be Saudi Arabia or the Emirates, and in those countries, they don't tax you, right? You're not taxed in the UAE.
Right.
You get paid to be an Emirati. And that's another thing I tell the politicians too, because most of them are looking for ways to increase tax revenue. But what if we pause for a second and rethink things? Why do you want the tax money? Obviously, you have public infrastructure you want to build. You need to finance the government, the military, whatever. You need the money. But what if you didn't need to try to extract that from the people? What if you set up a mining operation and you're just mining the Bitcoin and financing an entire country? And I think that's also a light bulb moment where they start to think maybe there's another way, because taxation has kind of run out of control. It's spiraling way, way out of control. Every single thing you're doing is being taxed. And then you have the hidden tax of inflation. So this can't continue, and this is contributing to the downfall of the world. So Bitcoin fixes that. We're agnostic, and we try not to be too political. We want to engage with whoever is interested in Bitcoin. We don't want to be known as, you know, allies of strong supporters of any one particular country, and we just do that one. We want to be accessible as a resource to talk about Bitcoin. And nothing that we know is unique. Like, this is all information on the internet. We just make an effort to package it up and deliver it in a digestible format. And we're happy to answer questions. Some Bitcoiners may be disappointed that it hasn't kicked off right away with El Salvador, but I believe it takes time because there's still cognitive overhead to overcome in regards to Bitcoin. But I believe it's coming, and it's coming very quickly. The other interesting thing is just looking at the political landscape. So if you look at what's happening in the next 1 to 5 years, there's going to be new presidents and prime ministers in a number of countries, Indonesia included. So Ridwan, there are talks that he may be the next president or vice president of Indonesia. And that's very interesting. And all over Latin America, elections are happening this year and for the next several years. So this will change the landscape. And a lot of these candidates are starting to look very seriously at Bitcoin. And we're working with groups all over the world to engage with some of these politicians that will likely become the next leaders of their countries. Well, we know El Salvador is mining. They've got their mine at Mauo. That's their geothermal division of their national utility. Costa Rica, they have a private-public partnership already with a data center, with Data Center Plus. It's a little hydro plant. So Costa Rica is technically mining Bitcoin already, and Indonesia as well. So you already have 4. You have Bhutan and El Salvador, Costa Rica, and Indonesia. The point is, it's happening. It's just not FOMO yet. And I think that will come. So your question about the timeline is, I would say within the next 5 years, we're going to see a wave of adoption. And definitely within 10 years, we will see hyper-Bitcoinization. The other system is breaking. Right? This is just fuel on the fire. The Bitcoin adoption push is just adding fuel to that fire.
That's a great point. So you think then you said 10 years, so 2033, we're in hyper-Bitcoinization.
Yes.
Wow.
And there you have it, folks, a captivating glimpse into the transformative power of Bitcoin. We've learned how it can bring economic prosperity to developing nations, redefine the concept of money, and ultimately reshape the global financial landscape. As we wrap up this conversation, I encourage you to stay tuned for our next episode. We'll continue to explore the ever-evolving world of Bitcoin, its impact on governments, and the profound changes it promises to bring in the years to come. So hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and join us on this thrilling journey into the future of finance. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.